Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wild. Today, we're heading back to my inbox. So recently, one of my subscribers emailed me about an experience he had on Doordash. Joe Rocker, thank you so much for emailing me about this and making this video possible. Apparently, customers are trying something new to get around tipping, and I'm curious to hear what it's about. So with that said, I want to go over everything he is saying in this email, how it actually is for Doordash drivers and customers and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. Do I have a doozy for you? So apparently customers are trying a new, to me, way of getting around tipping. Customers are always going to try new ways to get around tipping. It's just important to know what those new ways are. So let's hear what we got. So I just had a pickup for a customer going like 3-4 miles for like $5. So it wasn't that great, but I've had worse. I live in a diamond zone, and if you want good orders, I gotta take some bad ones. I don't know, man. I feel like everybody who says that, either they're in a really bad market, and Diamond Zone and Top Dasher are really that necessary in order to work on the platform. Maybe I just live in a market to where I don't have the same experience as you do. Everything is market to market. If you need Diamond Zone, you do that, but I'm still a strong advocate for no tip, no trip. I arrived to the store and talked to the person there. They said it was almost ready. After about 5 minutes or so, the merchant came and it said it was going to be about 15 to 20 more minutes wait. So I asked them what's the holdup, and she responds like this. The customer called us and asked us not to make the food until the driver arrives. The last driver who was here canceled the order unassigned, so we have to make it again. Okay, let's be as 100% clear as possible. The customer does not dictate how you as a merchant should operate at all. If a customer chooses to act that way, that's on them. They should have tipped their driver. Honestly, I would have unassigned this. I wouldn't have accepted a no tip order to begin with, but I would have unassigned this. Never think about it again, because people like this just suck. I wouldn't even work with a merchant that was so lackadaisical to where they can't even make the order and make sure it's ready upon arrival. I tried to tell her, and I said, I can understand you're trying to make your customer happy, and I'll take this order. But in the future, I would tell that customer you can't do that because you have a contractual agreement to a specific time with the driver. Okay, everything you're saying is factually accurate, but you still don't work with merchants that treat you like this at all. If they don't respect your time as a driver, you can't work with that merchant, you can't work with that customer. It's that simple. The whole time I was speaking, she was fake smiling, shaking her head, squinting her eyes, duck lipping, hands in a V. She was being so dismissive. Oh, I know exactly this type. This is the one that you're trying to have an honest conversation with, treat her with respect, yet she has absolutely no respect for you. Unassigned, move on. She then asked me, who do you work for? And I responded, I work for myself as an independent contractor, and you're gonna have the same problem with most drivers as you did the last one. She was clearly expecting me to say I work for Doordash. That was the best way you could have possibly put that. None of us work for Doordash. None of us work for UberEats. None of us work for Grubhub or any gig platform. We work for ourselves. We are independent contractors. We have a contract through these companies. You are your own business. You gotta start treating the way you work as your business. You do what's best for you. So she huffs in response of, well, we cook to order. And I responded, exactly, cook to order. Not cook to when driver agrees to stay while you cook it fresh. I also told her if the customer wants it that fresh, they should come get it themselves and not make drivers wait half an hour at the store. I 100% agree with that. Every order is cooked to order, realistically speaking. When you receive the order, you make it. It's not you receive the order, wait for somebody to show up and then start making it. That ruins the entire point of ordering it as delivery, calling ahead, everything. It is just irresponsible to treat your customers and to treat your drivers that way. It's just wrong. Then I asked for a manager because I could tell by then that I was getting nowhere with her. She tells me she's the owner. About that time is when the owner finally came to me, and as she handed it to me, I told her I'll take it, but I'm gonna have to report you to DD. I would have reported to DD. I would have gotten super petty about it, gone to Yelp, gone to all these review sites, told everybody to stay away, and I would have made sure all other people in my area know about how piss poor integrity and character this particular owner is. She shrugs. I go to my car, contact support, and start heading to the customer. In DD text support, I asked if they would call me because I needed help, and they did. About 30 seconds later, they called me, and while sitting in the parking lot slowly getting ready to head towards the customer, I start explaining everything to the agent. I would have just called. I wouldn't have had a text then call. I would have just called them. I usually never get any support from a text agent, ever. Like, after a couple of minutes of explaining basically everything I told you, the agent then asked me, do you have the order? Are you on the way there? And having already hit order picked up, I told him that I did, and that I was on the way to the customer. Let me tell you something, Joe. He said, paraphrasing, don't worry, sir, I've got your back. I'll cancel this order and issue you a half pay. I'll make sure you don't get any contract violations. Okay, if we could just rephrase those first lines on that paragraph, that would be great. Oh my goodness. I know it's very rare for Dasher support to ever support their drivers, like ever, and we don't talk about that enough because the rarity of the subject really does take you back and be like, whoa, that actually happened. But the way you said that, oh my god. I was like, do I feel bad for him? Do I feel good for him? Like, do I need to call 911? But I'm glad to see that you got the support that you should have gotten. Maybe you shouldn't have unassigned at that point if you are getting this kind of treatment. Breathlessly, I responded my thanks and told him I didn't need help with anything else. We disconnected. Sure enough, the order was canceled and there was a giant order of expensive fish soup and tacos. About 0.0001 seconds later, undoubtedly the customer was calling me from those random numbers. I triumphantly let it ring and go to voicemail. I would have even blocked them, man. Like, it sounds like something the DoorDash customer and the merchant should have actually thought about. The order can just be canceled and you both lose money. Bet they learned their lesson now. I ended that dash and beelines for home. Me and my beautiful blue healer had some of the best fish soup I've ever tasted, and we did quite enjoy the tacos. I still have about 2 days of fish soup. So you get multiple days of fish soup and tacos, and all of that was because you didn't unassign the order. What do I know? Clearly. In my opinion, you get what you paid for it. You don't pay me, so there you go. I roll. The customer probably has a history of low tips, drivers not wanting their orders and getting cold food. They must have felt they figured out how to get around that by calling the restaurant and having them wait to make their order until one of us drivers arrive expecting us to just wait. Ain't that the truth, man? If they're not going to actually pick up the order, if they're not going to tip their driver, who knows what kind of service they're actually going to get at this point. In this case, you ended up taking a huge W because you got half pay for the order. You got free food at that point. Like, I don't know how much the soup was, but you probably have a net value of over $30 at that point. So a good half hour's worth of work there. And yes, I do see what you did there. Anyway, I thought you might like this story. Usually Dasher support isn't that great, but this time it was stellar. Stay safe, Joe Rocker. Yeah, usually Dasher support is absolute garbage, and I'm happy that it worked out for you in the long term. But I'll be honest with you, I would have never taken an order like this. So the fact that you did and it worked out great for you, that's rare, but I'm glad to see that it did. This is my opinion. It's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. First off, if you're getting orders that are typically no tip, I wouldn't take those orders. I know you did it because you're in a diamond zone and you feel like you have to be in a diamond zone, and whatever you gotta do for your market is what you gotta do. I'm not gonna argue with you on that. But 9 times out of 10, Dasher Sport isn't gonna side with you on this. Customers are going to find more and more ways to get around the system. Do I think that you should have unassigned? Yeah. Did it work out great for you this time? Absolutely. Do I think that the merchant really learned her lesson? Absolutely not. Those kind of events, merchants usually blame the driver and say, you know what, they have to start doing their job better. And they're probably some of the bitter people that are in my comment section half the time. But I'm glad that you ended up getting a lot of free food, free soup for not too long's worth of wait. Like, I know it was like 15 to 20 minutes of waiting for you. This is why I believe no-tip orders aren't worth it. The amount of hassle you went through was just ridiculous. You shouldn't have been treated that way. All in all, I'm glad that things turned out well for you in the long term, and you ended up getting free food from it. And any Dasher that sees this, keep an eye out for customers like this. And a great way to avoid customers being like this is to not take orders without tips to begin with. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!